Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad. Today we're going to talk about the Nations League, but first, I'm Austin.
My name's Patrick.
And again, today, we're going to talk about that Nations League tournament coming up. We got some big games. Finally, we have a game where, a trophy's on the line, Pat, and it's do or die. But first, we got to talk about our boy Christian Pulisic winning the Champions League final this weekend. And, just what a moment for him it was, Pat.
Oh, it was awesome. Gotta give him props. The first American to win and play in the Champions League finals. So obviously, on the other side, you did have Zach Steffen with Man City. Unfortunate from that end, but nonetheless, it just where Christian has gone this tumultuous year with injuries to in and out of the lineup and the playing time and everything with that, right? And then having him have that impact he did against Madrid to get them to this point. I mean, it was storybook fairy tale ending, I guess.
Yeah, and it just felt like it had to be him, right, Pat? Like you said, he's
Oh
been
yeah.
such a trailblazer for American players overseas, and to be the first American to play a part in the Champions League final, and be a part of such a team like Chelsea, such a big club in Europe, and get this opportunity and take full advantage of it was just really special. And again, like you said, Pat, it sucks for Zach Steffen, but hey, he's going to have a good career. We know that. It's not like, this is going to be the end of the world
Right.
for him in Man City. We'll see what happens this summer, I guess, where he ends up. Because he may be back at Man City, and who knows, maybe they'll be in the final next year. But no, I think this is it's just like with Christian going abroad and doing so well in Germany and setting that bar so high and kind of raising it for American players overseas. I feel like this Champions League final win for him is just kind of doing that again. You got a lot of other players at top clubs right now, like Serginho Dest at Barcelona, Weston McKennie at Juventus, who they're going to be looking to kind of get back to dominance next year. It just seems like this could be kind of the start of another, American player winning the Champions League here in the near future.
I couldn't agree more, Austin, and that's kind of what the data is showing in the past.
Yeah.
So just kind of the trends here. So all the props to Christian and the team and Tuchel and what a turnaround he's had. And honestly, I was kind of worried going into that game, not to go back into it, but they were kind of on a little bit of a down streak there, and all signs were pointing to Man City and Guardiola finally getting over that hump. But looks like Christian and the boys had something to say about it.
Yeah, really, Thomas Tuchel really does have Pep's number, so that'll be something to watch next year too. Seeing kind of how that rivalry kind of unfolds a little bit more. But yeah, I thought that was a great start to the weekend, Pat. That happened on Saturday, and going into Sunday, spirits were high for watching this USMNT friendly versus Switzerland. And personally, I think I might be in the minority here coming away from this game. Especially since it was a loss. But personally, Pat, I felt like, we played pretty well in the day. The second half was not nearly as good as the first half, I'd say. But all in all, I feel like we learned some things. We saw some chemistry grow, I think, between players. And there's definitely some things we can kind of take away from this game to help us in the Nations League, semifinal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you mentioned, the first half, it was very impressive. In terms of just the high pressing and everybody coming out with energy and the chances created. Now, granted, we didn't finish everything, but we came out the gates flying. I think the 5th or 6th minute, Legit had that goal.
Yeah, it was in the 5th minute, I believe.
Yeah,
so
early
exactly.
on. Yeah, early on, and you saw how that was created, and everybody just kind of flying high. The front six was such high pressure, high press there. Brooks and McKenzie, who I was pretty impressed with McKenzie, honestly. In that first half, stepping up, having that high line, and just causing all sorts of confusion there for Xhaka and Shaqiri and the rest of the experienced Swiss team, who's no easy challenge. I mean, they're 13th or 14th, I think, ranked there in the coefficients. So this is kind of their prep, I guess, for the Euros. Very successful national team that's been together for a while. So with the press and some of the chances created, I think Leggett, Sargent's header, I think maybe Reyna might have hit the post, things like that. Overall, they were creating the chances, Austin.
Yeah, and I really loved what Brendan Aronson provided, to the attack for the U.S. And again, just being that tireless worker up front, he really just was running around all over the place, really putting Jan Sommer, Nico Elvedi, some of those Swiss defenders really under duress and really making it tough for them to build out of the back. And I really liked what I saw from him. I also thought Josh Sargent had some really good moments where he really made those players work to kind of work from the back and really get out of tight spaces. And I thought that was a real positive, Pat. The one thing I thought we could have did a little bit better on, and again, this comes back to kind of the thing we've wanted from Josh Sargent all along, is just him being a little bit more clinical in that final third. And really just the U.S. being a little bit more clinical in the final third. I thought one opportunity to really create some more chances and kind of take advantage of the opportunities that Switzerland was giving us, kind of the spaces in and around the final third, that we really didn't take advantage of as best as I thought we could have. But I thought, using Weston McKennie as kind of an outlet in that final third to either, do a give and go with, things like that. Weston McKennie was getting into some really good positions, but it just seemed like we weren't really finding him in the final third. We had a lot of players kind of putting their heads down, dribbling laterally, or even trying to go vertical, and kind of getting, caught in some tight angles and kind of losing, some of that, losing that possession. Right. That's really dangerous. Losing those positions. So that was something I saw. Weston McKennie in this game again was very class, and all his touches, again, whether it came off his head pat, his thigh, his foot.
The McKennie touch.
Yeah, he's just really good at that one-touch passing. And I just thought maybe if we could use him more as an outlet in the final third, to kind of string play together, it could have helped us a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just, with that too, things to work on in the second half more so. I just think the adjustments Switzerland made in terms of their tactics and personnel, and some of the, pretty strong subs they brought on. I think, Zuber ended up scoring, in that poor clearance there. But, just some of that too. You could see we were a little scrambling, a little bit more fatigued after that solid first half press. Switzerland, I think, was playing a little bit more just breaking down our press, essentially, bypassing it pretty well, and then kind of targeting and isolating our backs there. And that led to a lot of problems, Austin.
Yeah, it really did. And more so in the second half, kind of like you said, where it just seemed like we started to gamble a little bit more. And I don't know if that's all on, our defenders, or if it's our midfielders pushing up too high, and kind of like you said, even the wingback or, the fullbacks pushing up a little bit too high and not doing their duties defensively. But you saw a lot of, John Brooks trying to defend one-on-one, and Ethan Horvath stepping up and making some really crucial saves. But yeah, I think Switzerland had some really good opportunities in the second half and really put our team under pressure. And a better team might be able to finish those opportunities more and really run up the score, so to speak. But I thought we had some good opportunities in attack as well, especially right out of the gate in the second half. I think you alluded to it earlier with Gio Reyna having that shot off the crossbar, the side post. It was, there were some opportunities for us to score too. So I feel like, it goes both ways a little bit.
No, that's well said. And that's a trade-off, just being a diehard Liverpool fan myself, and just seeing some of the similarities with the pressing and how that can affect, you're getting a lot of chances up front, like you said, with Reyna and company and Aronson looking strong and causing just a lot of defensive troubles there for Switzerland. But, as soon as you're going to have those chances when they counter, great teams will find those areas of weakness and kind of expose you there. So you saw that maybe with, Cannon having to shift all the way over to that other side a little bit too late with the deflection for that goal. And Bolo just kind of breezing by people in Horvath coming to rescue, like you said. So I think that's just a trade-off with the high press, but you can see kind of the communication breakdowns, fatigue, other things too. Again, I don't want to blame altitude or anything like that. I mean, they are going to Colorado eventually too, but
yeah, good point.
Like you said, the second half got a little bit out of hand there. And I know, soccer is a game of waves, and you can see when teams are going on certain runs and things like that. But I mean, like you said, for all the chances we gave up, we could have equally have had, a few more than they did. So.
Yeah. Was there anyone, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, Pat, because this isn't something we talked about, but is there anyone that we subbed in that you thought really provided a great spark to us? I know off camera we kind of talked about Yunus Musa coming on, being somewhat of a difference maker, at least advancing possession. Is there any other sub that came on for the U.S. that you liked what you saw?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say I'm not a huge fan, but I think just a different dynamic. Acosta had some a little bit bright moments, offered a different element there as opposed to Yule and some of the other midfielders. But I don't know. I don't think Sabachu had enough time to really make a huge impact, in my opinion, up there. And what is interesting about some of the players, and like you said, Musa did okay, but nobody really jumped out at me per se. And it looked like Berhalter also left a lot of players in more time than I really thought, to be honest. With these Nations League games coming up, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic too, Pat. Our first sub was, I believe, in the 61st minute. That's when we had the triple sub of Tim Ream, Kellen Acosta, and Yunus Musa. And talking about playing at altitude, playing 4 games in a row, it'll be interesting to see kind of how we rotate players, because everything that Greg Berhalter said so far, he's basically keyed us into the fact that he's going to need to rotate for these qualifying windows. He's going to have to make use of certain players, and it's going to be kind of a deeper roster, or a roster that's going to have a lot more opportunities for game times than in the past. So yeah, that's a really interesting point. I'm not sure, I guess, what to make of those players playing as long as they did. I'm kind of in the same mindset of you. I thought Yunus Musa was really the one that really stood out to me. Clearly he's athletically gifted, and someone that also is very technically gifted and can kind of take on pressure and really just kind of get out of tight situations when dribbling with the ball. And that's just something that, we see out of Weston McKennie, we see out of Gio Reyna, we see out of Christian Pulisic. To see it out of Yunus always excites me and makes me hopeful for the future and what kind of player he can grow into. And it was cool seeing him wear the number 10 too. You're not going to see that often with Christian Pulisic, taking his position in camp. So I thought he was really the only one that I thought did well. And again, it's kind of like you said, those other players didn't have too much time to really make their mark on the game. And it's tough coming in as a sub, but
and just quick plug, Austin, with goalkeeper. We got to mention player of the game, Ethan Horvath, for all the hectic that was caused, and just with his club career in Bruges, just having the kind of and I've followed Bruges when Horvath first came, and there's been just a lot of goalkeeper turnover or turmoil, I should say, in the past, even with their success, and to see him come off a season of really no play, make an impact here. There's a lot of questions. He's going to be that number 2 spot. And I think this really put an emphasis or kind of an exclamation point on his chances for that backup role to Stefan. So I just wanted to give him a quick plug. Yeah,
no, that's fair. We know you're a big Horvath guy. So for sure. Definitely warranted after this game. It was quite the performance from him. So I guess, Pat, we should now take a look at, the Honduras game coming up, the semifinal of the Nations League. Again, it's going to be for the first Nations League ever, in existence, these final 2 games. So this is, a pretty big deal. This is something that we definitely want to, win. We definitely want to put our best foot forward here in this Honduras game and really, take the game by the scruff of its neck and really take it to Honduras. I think, Pat, you mentioned this is a team that put us out in Olympic qualifying. So this is a team that we really kind of want to get one back on, so to speak, even though it's not the same situation. But I guess watching the Switzerland game and the Swiss friendly, what are the key things to look for going into this game that we saw from that game?
Yeah, I think some of the key things to look for, Austin, are just again back to that high press and the tactics here that Berhalter will have. Obviously Switzerland was a completely different team in terms of the caliber and quality that they have, and I think we have to be full guns blazing, heavy metal, foot in the pedal, high press to cause a lot of just chaos and turnovers for Honduras. I mean, they do have some of their legends there in the back. I think what's his name, Figueroa.
Maynard Figueroa.
Yeah. So I mean, not bad there, but Austin, I think it's just key that front six and what we saw in this first half, could translate well over at least 3 goals. If we'd had that same half against Honduras, I guarantee you, we'll be putting it in the back of the net. So I think that high press is so essential. The communication's key. Have the backs and center backs in line. Dest flying up, joining in the attack. I think those are just some of the key things from my opinion that we have to just cause a lot of turnover, whether it's giving up a few counters. I think we can handle it against Honduras. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I want to talk a little bit more about Honduras, and they have a lot of experienced players. This is a team that's been through multiple qualifying cycles and has qualified for the World Cup several times. So this is no opponent that we should take lightly. This is a team that's got a lot of experience and a lot of exciting attacking players. Albert Elise, who is right there with Reggie Cannon at Boa Vista, is a dynamic player and someone that could really put our defenders under a lot of pressure and really just be a player that could kind of take over this game if we're not careful and not if we don't recognize that threat. So he's someone I'm going to be watching from their team just to kind of see what form he comes out right from the start. Same with Anthony Lozano, another player that's kind of bounced around La Liga. He's had his moments, for Honduras in the past. So he's another one I'm excited to see and hopefully, see us, take it to him and not let him be dangerous. But yeah, I'm really just excited to see kind of how this team comes out and plays and how we match it. This is a game where finally something's on the line. So we got to kind of take our game to the next level and kind of match that enthusiasm, match that passion, because Pat, a CONCACAF opponent coming at America and playing, against the USMNT, they're definitely going to be taking the game right to us from the start.
Absolutely, and we do not want Honduras living in the U.S.'s heads rent free, and that is not going to happen here. So I think just back to quickly, I wanted to mention too, like you said, some of the dangers that they have. It's so important with that high press that our center backs, Brooks, and not to allude to our next segment, but just the partners there at the center backs and having the communication when the wing backs go up or the outside backs go up and come back. We have to be very much locked in so we don't find ourselves in those scenarios, that happened against Switzerland. So again, there's going to be certain moments in the game, Austin. The lights are on, the fans are back. How did these young guys kind of handle the pressure? Like you said, the CONCACAF opponents, they'll be ready. They're hungry. They want to take down, the U.S. and show, that they can do what they did to us in Olympic qualifying. So I think, like you said, we have to match. We have to have that mentality. Be strong. Don't waver from the game plan. Hold that press, because if there's a few players in doubt or something's not kind of clicking right there, the midfield's out of sync. That's when we get overrun, especially with this type of style that we're playing.
Yeah, and I guess the one question I have for you, Pat, and maybe this will get us into what lineup we're looking to see versus Honduras, but we have several players who have been out. when you look at it, we have Christian Pulisic, who just won the Champions League final, Zach Steffen, who just lost the Champions League final, and then also Tyler Adams, who has been injured. We hear he's back in training, although, hasn't been healthy for Leipzig for a few months now. So, kind of looking at those players and seeing where they fit in. Do you expect the U.S. to play the same formation, the same lineup for this game? Do you think they'll kind of switch it up based on, the results from that Switzerland game? Or do you think, Greg Berhalter is going to stick with what's worked and what he's famous for, and kind of roll with those dual tens and the six in midfield, and take it from there? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, and what you brought an interesting point off camera is Greg is very, stuck to his game plan, calculated, has the X's and O's down, and I don't think it's going to waver much. I think really what we saw and why maybe some of those players were playing a little bit longer in the Swiss game is just because that's what it's going to be for the Nations League. I really don't think he's going to make too many drastic changes. I think even during that post-game interview, he said there were some things that we created. A lot of great chances in the first half. He saw some things there where, however many chances they had, and obviously they won 2-1. We had equally amount or more to have, 3 or 4 plus goals. So obviously not, verbatim there, but I just think there's not going to be too much changes there, Austin. Which again, I think we can kind of maybe talk about the specific lineups there and what we think, player by player, I guess by position group here.
Yeah. So let's get into that. So I think the goalkeeper, I think we're on the same page with. Ethan Horvath did a great job versus Switzerland. David Ochoa is a nice prospect on the up and up, but I think you got to give the start in this game to Zach Steffen, and a keeper that's really cemented himself as our number one keeper. Just because this is the biggest game we're playing in well over a year. So I think you got to go with Zach and give him that confidence.
Couldn't agree more, Austin. I'm excited to see him back. Motivated for a trophy. Not to. He did come up short against Christian Pulisic. Don't want to throw that in there with some banter there, but I'm sure he'll be well motivated to win a trophy with the national team. But heading over to the the backs here, the defense here, and we'll start with the center backs per se, Austin. But I think we've kind of honed down to obviously Brooks and who's going to be that partner. I think it's going to stay very similar to what we saw, and it's going to be McKenzie there. Alongside we're going to see Reggie Cannon and Dest on the left. So I think it's going to be very similar. Obviously, you could see some of the miscommunication or some of the errors there during the Swiss game, but I don't think much is going to change there. I think you need somebody like Reggie there to kind of be there, that defensive staple in the back, while Dest kind of goes up there in the attack.
Yeah, and I think honestly some of the bad moments from Dest in this past game versus Switzerland was more just one-off situations. I think he was someone that just didn't really have his way in this game. And I think it was more just because Switzerland really just, played well on the day and kind of, anticipated kind of what he was going to do in certain situations. I don't think the penalty was really that big of a deal. I think it was a ball that just, hit off his arm and it was really more unlucky than it was just him.
Yeah, I agree.
Something that he could control. So I think, we're going to see him have to play on the left, to be completely honest, in this World Cup qualifying cycle. So, I think we got to get comfortable with him being on the left. I think Reggie Cannon provides, kind of like you said, Pat, a little bit more stability than Anthony Robinson. And in my opinion, definitely more stability than DeAndre Yedlin, who we saw at the end of the game. So I think that's what we got to play. And again, like you said too, Mark McKenzie looked good in this game, so let's roll with him. We have Tim Ream, who's a little bit more experienced. Matt Miazga didn't play in the last game, and I don't know. He's an option. Maybe we'll see him. But,
I don't think anything really you could really argue, for anyone going over McKenzie there. I think the chance is there for him.
Yeah. The only one I think you could maybe argue is Chris Richards. He's not on the team
Yep,
because he's
yep.
recovering from injury.
That's
So
right.
that'll be exciting to see kind of how that shakes out, especially with Aaron Long's long-term injury. We hate to see that
Yeah,
for
it's
him, but
terrible.
you would think he'd be probably the starter with Mark McKenzie kind of pushing him to get some game time. But yeah, that's not the case. So I guess moving on to the midfield, again, the big outlier is Tyler Adams. If he's healthy, does he start in this game? Does he come off the bench? Does Greg Berhalter rest him for Mexico? Is he not healthy at all and just kind of there with the guys, kind of building that chemistry and being a leader off the pitch? We're not really sure. We hear he's back in training, but I personally don't understand why he's there unless it's to build chemistry and be a leader. I wouldn't want to risk him in either of these games, to be completely honest. Definitely not in the Costa Rica friendly
Absolutely.
after the Nations League. So I'm going to go with Jackson Newell. I think Greg Berhalter will kind of do the same as well. And then looking again at this Swiss game, you liked what Sebastian Lletget provides. Wes McKennie is a lock starter based on the players we have called up right now, and just in general, I think he's a lock starter. Who am I kidding? So I'm going to go with the same midfield, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in full agreement there, Austin. I really think, obviously, Leget's been playing well for club, but when he puts on that U.S. jersey, man, he is just a whole nother level too. And
like Superman putting on changing in the phone booth.
Exactly. That's a great comparison there. But yeah, I mean, Lletget just offers that almost that veteran presence. You can just so composed and right place at the right time, but also clinical and finishing. I mean, granted he did have some other chances there, but he got the goal there and he's made quite an impact. In Berhalter's system, in the last kind of year or so. So I really think it's a great fit there. And like you said too, I mean, we don't even need to argue that no ifs, ands, or buts. McKennie is just taking his game to a whole nother level with Juventus there. And just to see what he can do in that midfield, bursting into the final third, getting involved there with crosses and flicks and maybe even scoring some goals. Who knows? I'm sure we'll see that too. But Ewell's kind of interesting, that prospect. I think, obviously you've toyed around, obviously not Acosta's main position there at that six. So I think Ewell, in just terms of, spraying some of those balls and connecting, I think it's certainly a task he can do against this Honduras team, right? I mean, it's no better or equal or less than kind of the MLS level he's at, against some of these players. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think Jackson Newell needs to step up if we're going to have a successful World Cup qualifying cycle. I thought he looked okay versus Switzerland, but he in my opinion, at times he was a little slow to react and make some of the passes he needed to make. So I thought that's something that makes sense based on him playing in MLS. Again, that was a top 15 team in the world with players from Serie A, from the Bundesliga, from the Premier League. So it's a different level of play. But when you talk about going up against Honduras, you're going to get some of these teams that compete in the CONCACAF Champions League who may, have some talent that's on par with MLS, but I don't think you're going to get anything more than that. So yeah, he really needs to step up and kind of solidify that backup position to Tyler Adams. And yeah, I think we're going to see that. So I guess, Pat, now we'll move into the attackers. So really, this is the big question mark, I'd say, of this lineup. And I know there's a lot of people out there who read this quote from Greg Berhalter, I guess, after the Switzerland game. But I want to just put the quote out there so that we're all on the same page of understanding exactly what Greg Berhalter said, and then we can talk about it a little bit. So when asked about whether or not Christian would play in this Honduras game, Greg Berhalter said, and I quote, "I mean, you tried to tell Christian that he's not playing on Thursday. It's going to be a very difficult one." So everyone seemed to interpret this as Christian Pulisic starting, Christian Pulisic's for sure going to play, all that good stuff, which I would love to see that happen. I think Christian Pulisic, again, is our best player. would really be a big asset for us in this game if he's on the field. Coming off of a Champions League win and some celebrations and things of that nature, some late traveling. He's already in the camp now on Tuesday, Pat, when we're recording. So
right.
He's at least there and kind of training with the guys. I just don't see this quote as Greg Berhalter saying he's gonna start and he's gonna play. I do think he's gonna play in this game. I think he's gonna be personally, and maybe you can say something different, Pat, but I think he's going to start on the bench for this game. I just don't see Greg Berhalter, how measured and tactical he is, and he likes to play somewhat conservative in my mind. I just don't see him throwing Christian Pulisic out there against this Honduras team right after winning the Champions League, playing a big part in that, and making the trip late. But hey, I guess we'll find out. But that's kind of my take. So I think personally we're going to see Brendan Aronson start in this game again. I think Josh Sargent's going to stay at striker. Not his best game against Switzerland, but I don't know. He provides a lot of pressing, movement up top. He is a good outlet at times. I thought he had some loose touches in that Switzerland game, but we haven't seen too much of Siebechu as well. So I think we go with the familiar hand. And then on the right, I think we're going to see Gio Reyna again. Gio Reyna had a good game, again in that friendly, and I liked what I saw. So what do you think, Pat? Do you agree?
Yeah. So I mean, you honestly, kind of persuaded me and did the 180 just because I'll be honest and transparent. I was just kind of reading what I saw on Twitter. I didn't read the full quote and get kind of the context there, and just kind of an intriguing perspective with the the Pulisic quote there, and what Berhalter said. So now thinking about it, I really am kind of in the same boat as you. Obviously it'd be great. Maybe we'll see him start, but maybe this Switzerland game where we saw a lot of good stuff from Aronson, to be honest, was kind of that trial, that start, that full start, to kind of take the reins there, at least, temporarily, after Christian's kind of has to travel. It's a long flight over, especially to Colorado, training there, with the Champions League preparations, all that, right? And yeah, I mean, Honduras is again, not to give them any knocks or anything, but it's really not a Switzerland or a Brazil or Argentina per se. This is an opponent that we should be beating, and even without, granted, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of our top players there, especially if this kind of prevents injuries or anything. And I think, like you said, he's kind of a guy that wants to be conservative, and when we get to that final, Mexico, Costa Rica there, that's when we'll see the starts or more of those players on the line to maybe that have been injured, with Adams' case or things like that. So I really think they're kind of banking on, this was a great trial run to what we saw in Switzerland. Saw some good things, maybe tinkering, but I think the lineup will stay the same, like you said, especially up top there. And it'll be kind of interesting, Austin. I know I've been on a tangent here, but with Sargent, again, back to that debate where we just don't have a great finisher up there, to be honest. And this is, these are the lights are on. This is the real deal, the competition semifinal. I want to see Josh, prove himself, assist goals. I want to see him make an impact because, again, that spot's really up for grabs. And I don't really, it's kind of honestly saying, oh, Josh does some great things, build up play, possession, but just kind of put him up there. We don't really have anyone kind of knocking on that door saying, hey, I'm going to put 3 goals in tonight.
Yeah, it's a really good point, Pat, because I was hopeful to see Matt Hoppe on Sunday against Switzerland, and we didn't see that. We saw Jordan Siebechu, who, he's an okay striker. Yeah. I think he's more of that poacher mentality, so maybe that's kind of what we need up top. But I thought Matt Hoppe looked really good in his minutes this year for Schalke, and provided similar qualities that Josh Sargent had with that hold-up play, with just connecting possession up top and kind of making good decisions getting into transition. I really liked what I saw from him. And again, the finishing was pretty good. On all his goals this year, he had a pretty high degree of finishing. So I really was hoping we saw some minutes from him. We did not. I doubt we're going to see him start. Maybe he'll play a role off the bench in this game. But I fully agree with you, Pat.
He'll be sorry. I was going to quickly say too. That's an interesting call, and I really like it too. But I also would be intrigued to kind of see YAA maybe as a sub as well.
Ooh, okay.
Just kind of the. I know sometimes he goes in and out of games, but some of those crucial moments he has are flashes and brilliance. He'd be an interesting kind of sub there at the end of the game if we need something.
Yeah, and you just make such great runs. That's the thing from Tim Weah that no other player on our team has. It's just that savviness of when to kind of run in behind defenders and really just look to get in behind and capitalize in transition.
Yeah, he's a really intelligent player.
Yeah, he really is, Pat. That's very well stated. So I think one more thing on the Christian Pulisic thing. I hope we see him. To be completely honest, Pat, I hope we see him right from the get-go. I hope I hope he's someone who can help us win this game and then go at Mexico and be a real force. But I just think Greg Berhalter would have came out and said, Christian Pulisic's our guy. He's going to be in the starting lineup, no doubts about it. But something tells me he's kind of holding back a little bit because he just, I don't think he's gonna do it, Pat. I don't know. Maybe
I want to see those. Christian Pulisic is starting, no question. Verbatim there. So I don't know if it's Greg toying or just being again very vague, which he typically is. But as soon as you kind of mentioned that to me, before we started filming, I started to think about it a little bit more and kind of analyze and that's just kind of an interesting point there. Again, if we were playing in Mexico, maybe in the semifinal, he'd definitely be starting. But I think he has a lot of faith in Aronson there, Reyna, and all the other, Steven Sargent, and what we kind of have up top right now.
Yeah, and both looked really good in my opinion versus Switzerland. So it's not like you're getting a lesser product, or a severely lesser product than what Christian Pulisic is going to put on the field. Obviously, that's hard to say because he is our best player, but Brendan Aronson is a really talented player and provides a lot of the same qualities as Christian Pulisic, minus maybe that final burst of speed and kind of the savviness in the box to get in positions to score. But I think those two did well enough to play against Honduras and help us get a win, or at least start against Honduras. So I think with that, Pat, that's kind of our take on what we're expecting to see in the Nations League. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel down below, and make sure to leave a comment.
And also, guys, Instagram, Twitter, we're going to have a lot of different content going out here with the Nations League, the friendlies here. It's just going to be an exciting summer, Austin.
That's right. And this episode's also available in podcast form, like all our other episodes. So make sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Leave us a review. We love to hear feedback from you guys. And Pat, it's really going to be good to see the USMNT in a competitive international match. And hopefully we got some silverware coming to us on Sunday.
That's right, Austin. And this is exciting. The fans are coming back. US is on the radar for a lot of fans, even those casual fans, and people doubting us with the World Cup, or excuse me, the World Cup in the past, but the Olympic failure. And this is just a true test. All our players. The spotlight is on here, Austin, and I'm fired up. I know we're kind of pumped up here. For Thursday, and then eventually getting to Sunday and silencing some of those haters.
Yeah, it honestly starts here, Pat, because after this we have the Gold Cup and then Olympic World Cup qualifying, which is the biggest thing, especially from what happened last time. So I think this sets us up to one day win the World Cup.